Korea Blockchain Week with Tascha, who is co-founder of Alpha Venture DAO, ex-Alpha Finance Labs, and they have incubator for Web3 projects and incubator for multi-chain dApps. Nice to meet you here, Tascha.
Likewise, glad to be here.
So can you tell us about your journey in crypto? How did you get involved into it?
Yeah, so I started trading since 2017. Went through downhill together with a lot of people, and that pretty much how I got into the space. But I feel like that's a pretty similar story with a lot of people, right? So you kind of got hooked into the trading first, and then you actually study a lot of hey, what's actually behind this, right? And then the more I study, the more I realized this is really, really interesting, not only on the technology itself, but more on the ethos, more on how things actually run in this world, this crypto world, right? So back in early 2020, that's when I started to dabble a bit more on building something and not just reading and trading, right? Because personally, I have always been interested in finance and tech. So with the natural interest, and the growth of the industry that tackles a bit more into DeFi space, then I feel like, hey, this is a really good way for me to segue into the space. So early 20 kind of experimented with different concepts from lending, from different concepts in DeFi, right? And then around mid to late 2020s, October, that's when we launched the product, Homora, Alpha Homora. And we kind of built a lot of different products from there and experimented with different concepts. And now, we pivoted and expand to a venture style, which I can tell you a bit more. But the journey in the beginning has been super interesting in a way that I would say it is not as overwhelming as today. I feel like back in the days, there are not that many interesting projects. So it's kind of a bit more easier to get ramped up back in the days.
And did you trade at the time Bitcoin, Ethereum, or both?
Yeah,
tokens?
I traded Bitcoin back in the days. Yeah.
Any leverage trading?
No, not yet that degen.
And when you discovered crypto, were you in Asia or were you in the US?
I was in the US. Yeah, in Berkeley, Bay Area.
So everybody probably talked about crypto back then.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to escape, dabbling in a bit.
So which problem did you see that you decided to launch Alpha Finance Labs?
Yeah, so back in early 2020, we saw a number of DeFi products. And our thesis and our view is that DeFi is very early. Even now, it's still early, right? But back in the days, it's even earlier such that we don't know which concept or which fundamental product is going to work. Let's say if it's lending, it's not for sure that collateralized lending is going to work or what's going to stay. So we wanted to experiment with a lot of ideas, and we have a lot of ideas too, right? So that's the story behind why we became Alpha Finance Lab back then, which is focusing more on becoming a DeFi lab. So the problem is not specific to a particular problem, but the problem that we see is on the sector wise, in which that we're super early in the sector in a time that we think that we're taking the bet on the growth of DeFi, but we don't want to take a bet on a particular problem, versus we're actually providing solutions to a lot of problems and see which ones stick and then double down on that.
Nice. And why did you decide to transition to a DAO and to start funding other projects and incubating other projects?
Yeah, so that also leads to another problem that we saw, or market gap that we saw, because we're very market gap driven as a project and as a team. So after we have built a number of DeFi products and also dabbling into different NFT infrastructure areas as well, we saw that the big problem and big gap is that when the new Web3 founders coming in, they actually have no go-to place to bootstrap a lot of things, right? And building Web3 project is pretty hard, and there are a lot of unknowns. Let's say legal entity, or even communicating with community, thinking of go-to-market strategy, doing product market fit. All of these are pretty niche in crypto. So we want to actually experiment with how do we transfer the know-how that we have to benefit more of these influx of projects in such a way that it also benefits Alpha Tokenomics as well. So we did an MVP of incubating, which we incubated 3 projects for the first batch, and they all did really successfully. Launch their products, launch their tokens, raise funds from top-tier investors, and from there, that's our enlightening moment that hey, this is what the market needs. If we believe in the growth of Web3, which we do, then there's going to be more influx of high-quality Web3 projects, and we want them to come to Alpha Venture DAO to be the go-to place for incubating, right? And all of this also benefit Alpha Tokenomics because all of these incubating projects will also contribute a certain percentages to the treasury, to the community. So it kind of win-win for all parties. Yeah.
So can we name you like one combinator of crypto?
Yeah, I think so. In a grand scheme of things, and the differentiator I think for us is that we also build things. So when building things ourselves, we get more insights, we get more connections. We're on the ground competing and on the ground playing the field, right? So we translate all those information, all those know-how, all those insights to incubate projects. So it kind of like flows into incubating better and high quality projects as well. So in the end, yeah, I think on the high level, we want to be Y Combinator of Web3 and continuing to build products such that we continue to maintain our edge.
And besides providing different assistance to these projects, do you invest into them in your tokens, or how does it work?
Yeah, as of now, no, not yet. But in the next phase, we will. But it's not going to be alpha treasury investing. We don't believe in investing from the treasury itself. I think the treasury should be for the project as opposed to for investing. If it's for investing, maybe you can launch like a separate venture arm and make it super clear that this is for investing only, right? But for us, how we're thinking of is we're actually thinking of looping in community that contribute to get access to all these private sales of incubator projects that we have. But not only getting access, we need to make sure that these community members actually contribute. So the key thing that we really focus on is how do we map the allocation to be according to how much they contribute, but at the same time not discourage those who don't contribute too much, because that's quite a lot of majority of the community as of now. But we're looking to change that through the new tokenomics that we're revamping.
So will it work like a syndicate and pool for investment, or will it work like a launchpad?
Yeah, I think it's going to be none of that. It's going to be a bit of what you say. So how we're thinking of it is more of like community members that we have, we want them to contribute to the incubator projects, right? Upon contributing, you will get access to allocations. Depending on whether you get allocations, a lot or little, will depend on how much you contribute. So in a way, it's more of like from the project standpoint, the incubator project standpoint, they're raising from community that are actually contributing. From community standpoint, they are able to invest in these projects upon contributing. So not per se syndicate, but it's more of like a pool of community members who can invest because they contribute. Yeah. So we're probably going to loop in a lot of social fi or like social identity tools to kind of help us with that too. Yeah.
And you have your token Alpha. Like, what's the purpose of your token? How is it used?
Yeah, good question. So what we realize now is that with the current tokenomics, it worked for before when we only built things. But now that we also incubate things, it doesn't align the incentives as much as we would like. So we're at the stage where we will also revamp the tokenomics. So cannot share too much of the details of the tokenomics yet, but we're at the stage that we realize that, hey, if we want to grow all these Web3 ecosystem to be really big, we want Alpha to be the gateway, right? So that's the key concept. So need to adjust the tokenomics such that Alpha token itself is the gateway to all these high quality Web3 incubated projects that we have.
And is your token on Binance Chain?
Yeah, it is on Binance Exchange, it's on Ethereum Chain, it's on Binance Smart Chain, on other exchanges as well. Yeah.
And why did you choose Binance Chain for your token?
Yeah, I think there are several reasons, right? One is when we did the product, the first product that we launched, we were actually gonna launch on Binance Smart Chain before Ethereum, but then now, now we're on both Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, right? And a lot of the retail users that use our products were on Binance Smart Chain just because of the gas fee back in the day, yeah. So we find it, natural progression.
And can you share some projects you currently incubate and as well projects you are building in Alpha Venture DAO?
Yeah, so we're building a new product in the NFT infrastructure space. We're actually soft launching next week, so cannot share too much detail on that, but be on the lookout for the updates on the Twitter. And then on the incubating side of things, we have 3 projects in the current incubation batch, which is coming up to the end of the incubation process. So if you're investors, if you're in the space, you want to check out new projects, be sure to sign up for our demo day, which is also a QR code on the Twitter account. So that's the current 3 projects. We're also opening for a new incubation batch in September. So in summary, for the incubation side, we have incubated 6 to 7 projects, ranging from DeFi, ranging from NFT analytics, NFT infrastructure, DAO tooling, game infrastructure for GameFi. So yeah, we've pretty much incubated a number of things on the Web3 space. Yeah, and sorry, can I go back to the product side of things? We also have Homora, so Alpha Homora, which is a lending and leveraging farming product on Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Phantom, and launching on Arbitrum, Optimism. So that is continue to grow. And yeah, that's about it.
And how projects can apply to be part of your incubation?
Yeah, so you can check out our website. There's the application process over there. The new batch should be opening up in September. And usually we open up for 1 month. And we evaluate a lot of the projects. For example, for the current batch that we're incubating, about 260 projects apply globally. And we selected only 3 high quality ones. So yeah, our approach is less about the quantity, but more on the quality. So we spend a lot of time with the projects we incubate. So yeah, if you're building something, very interesting, you want to get incubated, you want to get more guidance, then yeah, be sure to apply.